to Healthier Habit with me. I am Jackie Poole, where we chat about mom, life, weight loss, habits, and everything in between. And a few weeks ago, I actually did a nutrition class, how to properly feed our bodies, learn what to eat and how to eat if you're trying to lose weight. I know there is so much information out there. If you're confused or overwhelmed on what to do, if you've tried lots of different things and they have not worked for you, if you're short on time, if you are really tired or just trying to gain some time, this is for you. This is part 1 and part 2 will be coming out next week. So stay tuned for that. So let's go ahead and get started. And just a little bit about me. I am a nutrition coach. I have 3 boys. I had my first son when I was 23. I was almost reaching 200 pounds, and it was just mind-opening for me to realize that I am so young for me to feeling so tired, so forgetful, wasn't motivated to do anything. I was just not happy with the way I looked, how I felt. Shopping was horrible. I hated shopping, and so it took a really long time for me to get it. And, a little bit going more into my story, I was always overweight since I was 6 years old. I remember coming from Mexico to here, and the weight just came on, and it really rolled from elementary to middle school to high school to my adulthood until I just finally decided that I've had enough. And so making my career change and really helping women that's where my passion lies, in helping women make that change and not knowing where to start. Tried everything before and not seeing results, and trying something different and not seeing results. And, because I was there before I had my son, I was trying to lose weight, and then I would go back right to where I started. And every time it just got worse and worse and worse. So I'm here to help you. I am here to give you information that you can take and start applying today. And so that's a little bit about me. Before I begin with the class, I do have this statement. This class is just a representation of my own experience, of the research that I've done. So please, use this information for educational purposes. Cooperate with a health professional, your primary care physician. Consult if you have any questions or concerns about starting a new diet plan or exercising program. It's always good to work together as far as, making yourself a better person. And it's always great to consult and hear their advice, but also be an advocate for yourself. And so we're going to start with what we know about eating right? Because we hear all of these things, we think we know, and then it all changes the next day. And so what we should know about eating right is basically just stick to whole foods, like fresh fruits, vegetables, things that you can grow. If you're an animal eater, if you like meats, try to shoot for those animal products that say organic, free range, free from antibiotics, wild caught, the life of animals that live differently, that live a somewhat normal life. The quality of the food is so much better. The nutrients that come from that food is so much better. So if you think of all of these mass farm, things like fish and chicken, those are given so much antibiotics and hormones, and all of that stuff that they consume, what they eat, we eat. So that in the long term is going to really affect our own hormones, our own processes, and it's going to weaken that metabolism. It's going to weaken our immune system. It's going to weaken our gut health. So it's going to impact us in so many different ways, and making those simple changes. And yes, it can be a little bit more expensive. Yes, it can be a little bit more pricey. It doesn't have to be all the time. It can be certain things. It can be, I know certain stores have different qualities of meat as well. But just try shooting just for eggs, or, shooting for the vegetables. There's a list in, on there online that gives you like a 12 and 15 of the best fruits and vegetables to get from organic, and things that don't have to be organic. So, and that's always provided to you in my mornings program as well. Just so you know, not everything has to be those types of things, but you're better off going with that because you get all of the things that you don't want, like pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, and you get quality ingredients and nutrients that come with that type of food that you're buying. So we're going to continue on. And today we're going to talk about some of the macronutrients that our food is categorized in. And so we have the carbs, we have our protein, we have our fats. And so let's break them down a little bit, okay? We're going to start with carbs, because carbs have a really it's a love and hate relationship with a lot of people, eat carbs, not to eat carbs. But to be honest, if you focus on whole foods like oats, bananas, rice, potatoes, starchy vegetables, those types of carbs, they're amazing for you. Now, if you switch it to chips, cereal, bread, depending on the bread that you're eating, not that is bad, but if you're eating muffins, those are not the best carbs for you. So, and there's a variety of carbs and sugars, but today we're not going to really go and dive into that. We can definitely shoot that for another time, but I'm keeping it super simple today. And so carbs are known for our main source of energy. They're providing and fueling our bodies. So, for example, people who are going to go for a marathon run, it's, recommended for them to eat a very heavy carb meal before the run, have something to give them that energy so they can last that marathon, that big run that they're going to be going to go do, because our body's going to use it right away for energizing and fueling our muscles and other aspects as far as, processes that go through while we're doing that intense cardio. So carbs are very important for fueling our body, and it is the main source of energy that our body uses food for. Second is going to be protein. Protein, for me, is number one most important thing for women and for our aging process, but it's also required for our muscles to build and repair. Things that are built out of proteins in our body are our hormones, our collagen, enzymes. They're made of proteins. And a few examples of proteins are fish, legumes, beef, yogurt, cottage cheese, chicken. Protein powder is a big one. You can have whey, you can have casein, you can have egg, vegan. There's so many options. And they're really important. Again, I want to emphasize this because protein is important for us to have to rebuild our muscle, for our skeletal support. We need that as we age because it is our foundation, our strength to keep our posture, to be able to do things as we get older. If you think of older individuals, sometimes they have a hard time walking, they start needing canes, they start, their skin starts sagging. It really affects a lot of parts of the body. So protein is really number one on my list for me. And third would be fats. Now, fats has a really bad connotation to it, but they're really important as far as they help us absorb the vitamins more efficiently. They're also another source of energy for our body, which help, insulate and also support cell function. But going back to that, it's another source for energy. So I'm pretty sure you guys heard of the keto diet, and it's basically you know, really limiting your carbs and increasing those fats because the body uses the ketones that it makes from having the absence of carbs and uses the fats as energy. So it kind of switches. And that's what it means by another source of energy. So when we are not consuming enough carbs or any carbs, for example, some people don't, fats will turn into that energy source. Some examples of fats that you can consume are olive oil, nuts, butters, like peanut butters and almond butters, which are one of my favorites to add to shakes. Definitely gives it a nice, good, nutty flavor. So let's continue with this because, so we've talked a little bit of the micronutrients, but for example, some foods have more than one. So eggs can have fat and protein, avocados have carbs and fats, lentils have carbs and protein. So a lot of foods don't just have one thing. So it's good to know and have a mixture of all of these whole foods and eat a variety of all three micronutrients. There's no such thing as bad carbs when it comes to whole foods or that fat is bad. So our bodies need all types of nutrients. So don't let the media or any fad diets tell you otherwise, because we want something that's going to be long lasting, that's going to be sustainable, that it's going to make changes right away. But it really starts with making these small changes, making these small habits, so we can keep long-term, success. And, one simple thing is just making those small habits easy for you. Your gut is crucial. It is 70% of your immune system. It is the second brain, and it's basically the switch to your overall wellness. Having an optimal gut means having an optimal gut microbiome, which will help you not only lose weight, but make it simple. With the one-of-a-kind Axis TreBiotic, the gut health goes way beyond with the 3-in-1 microbiome matrix technology, which features 3 key factors. Number 1, the GOS prebiotic helps your gut bacteria, the good bacteria, populate faster and with a greater density. Number 2, it's the NeuroFlora probiotic complex, which provides 3 scientifically selected strains of acid-resistant bacteria, which is shown to improve microbiome diversity, improve your immune health, brain, and cognitive health. And number 3 is the Epicor GI, a whole food fermentate that supports a healthy gut lining for optimal nutrient synthesis and overall well-being. The Axis TreBiotic uses an innovative beadlet delivery system, and there is no pills to swallow. Add it into a shake, an oatmeal, or take it in a spoonful combined with the CLA chocolate trim to optimize your GI tract, optimize your well-being, your energy, and live a much healthier lifestyle. I actually have a referral link for you to get $10 off your first order. The link will be in the show notes, and I can't wait for you to try this amazing TreBiotic Axis technology. To make them simple so you can stay consistent. So let's dive a little bit deeper into nutrition. We talked about micronutrients, and we're going to kind of speed through this because I have a lot of information for you guys today. And we're going to dive into the micronutrients. And those are vitamins and minerals, which are part of the whole foods we consume. So, vitamins, some examples that I gave you here are vitamin C, vitamin B complex, which is great for immunity and weight loss. All of these are really good to know to eat from whole foods that will also support your weight loss journey. People digest them differently. And I actually have a protocol where we can go through, some of the symptoms or things that you might experience and help you see what you're missing in your diet based on how you're feeling in your everyday life. But again, let's start with vitamin C that we actually do not make ourselves. Our body does not make vitamin C. So we have to get that from whole foods first, right? That could be an orange, that can be bell peppers, that can be pomegranates, tomatoes, broccoli, all of these things, you want to get your vitamin C from whole foods first. But of course, supplements is always great to enhance that nutrition. And so let's move to the second one, which is vitamin B complex. You can get those from like green vegetables, lemons, and all of those, up samples out there for you. Vitamin A and vitamin E are also for weight loss again, and you can find those in carrots, tomatoes, almonds, avocados. So if you hear this, again, our primary focus is keeping it with whole foods. Now, it's not just vitamins that we're getting from our foods. We're also getting those minerals. And, minerals can be, selenium, zinc, magnesium, iron, copper. We have a whole list of all of these nutrients minerals that we can get from whole foods. The top three that I think are very important for women here are zinc, which are really important to have for emotional support, especially for our women that, hormones really fluctuate, because just having our periods, our hormones are going to be changing throughout the month, every month. And zinc is really great to have as emotional support. Magnesium is related to 300 and plus processes that the body carries, and it's really great for, muscle repair, your cardiac, functions, your skeletal functions, your sleeping processes, all of these processes, digestion. There's so many processes that magnesium is involved, and a lot of people are actually very deficient on this type of mineral. So, that would be another one that I would also recommend to take. But again, it's just recommendations, always make a judgment call or speak to your, PCP. If you have any questions regarding these, we can always talk about what works for you, because also magnesium, there's like 7 different types of magnesiums. There's like glycinate, a few. So it's very important to know exactly what you're taking. And again, you don't want to get these from your, gas station. You don't want to get them, to be honest, from Walmart or places like that. You really want a high quality brand supplement. And so you want to make sure that the bottles actually have what they say they have, because in recent studies and in recent research, some of these actually don't contain what they say they do. So it's very important to focus and really dial down and look at the bottles and see what you're actually getting. Another mineral that I also found very important, especially for women, is iron. Again, if we're still having our periods, if we're still menstruating, that blood flow can definitely cause us to feel tired, can definitely lose that mental focus. And again, especially during our menstrual cycle or, menstruating days, it can really make a difference on how we feel and how we manage our mood. So again, those are some of the few that I find that are very crucial to make sure we have for not only just weight loss, but our overall health. And so again, you want to get these from a high quality source. And so sometimes we don't do it. We don't do it. We want to start. We have those New Year resolutions. We have those, we're 3 months into the year, and a lot of those gyms are already died down. Those resolutions of I'm gonna be healthier, kind of, navigated to less and less. So why don't we do it, right? So a lot of people think that, oh, I'm just going to do this 21-day challenge and I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good for the summer, or I'm going to do this 6-week challenge, or I'm going to, do this boot camp for 1 month. It's not just eating right, or it's not just working out. You really have to realize that it's a lifestyle change, that this is going to be the new you. This is who you are. And some people or individuals really just kind of go all 100, and get really tired of being restricted, of, doing all of this work and seeing no results can be so frustrating, and especially making these short-term solutions and then going back to how we were living a few days ago. So it really needs to be done daily without any excuses. Like, this is the new you. This is going to be your lifestyle. And this is where my mornings program comes in, because, habits are established. Once they are established, it's really figuring out what works for you, what works for your schedule. Because if you're doing the same thing over and over again, things are not going to be changing. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and not seeing any results. But you also need to make those habits and those changes satisfying, rewarding for you, so you can continue on making those changes. So things that might get in the way are, of course, maybe you don't have the support from your husband or your spouse, or, they tell you, oh, you've tried before and you failed. Or maybe those comments or negative feelings are coming from you. It's easy to make unhealthy choices when we're, not prepared. Or let's say we're going out to restaurants and you don't know what to get. And I know there's so much information out there about certain foods, about certain diets, and that can also be overwhelming when you hear that this food is good and then the next day it's bad. For example, if maybe months ago or years ago, I remember coconut oil, and it's still kind of in the mix. Coconut oil is good, coconut oil is not so good. So it's really based on a lot of opinions and how they research things. But what should you really focus on your body and how you feel? And, things are going to change from day to day. That's just science. That's what it's part of learning. And so it's, again, focusing on what really works for you and your individual needs, because Susie's needs might not be, Nadia's needs. So it definitely makes a difference in you having that connection with your own body as well. And so a few things that keep us from eating right is the wrong foods, those fried foods, those fast foods, they have a lot of sugar, those sugar foods, they kind of tend to lead us to overeat. And as moms and women, sometimes there's not enough hours in the day, especially when you're solo parenting or there's multiple children. All we want to do is catch up on sleep or rest once we've had like a full day of, working out and groceries and cleaning and working. It's also, especially like if moms, having little ones who are not sleeping through the night can definitely make it very difficult to get that adequate sleep and recovery. This can cause us, a feeling of hopelessness or helplessness or feeling really backed into a corner. And sometimes when we feel like we're not doing great, that we're not managing our stress right, we turn to food as a coping mechanism, and we might feel inadequate and we might not realize that we're doing this, but we turn to food. And then sometimes those negative emotions can really lead us to make really poor food choices like the fried foods or the F foods that we just talked about earlier. And so we make those choices and then we feel really bad. Like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have ate that. Why did I eat that? And you start feeling that guilt and that shame. And so that leads us right back to feeling sad, anxious, and then we are in a big cycle of just kind of making bad choices and feeling bad and making bad choices and eating bad and, all of those feelings. So again, I want to emphasize that really becoming aware of our own bodies, of our own emotion is key to really gaining control of the behaviors and the cravings that we might experience, because that's really what's going to make those big changes. And so let's talk a little bit about how do we make these changes? How do we break old habits? How do we do that? And so again, it's realizing that being healthy, it's not going to be for one day. It's not going to be for 3 weeks. It's not going to be for 21 days. It's the person that you are becoming. It's the person that who you want to be. It's a life change. It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. This is who you are. And again, confronting those difficult emotions and addressing those feelings might help you move forward, because those are what are holding you back. And really understanding that you deserve so much better than what you feel. You deserve to feel your best. You deserve to be able to run and play with your kids. You deserve to do all that. And sometimes making those changes are going to make a huge difference. And don't be afraid to ask for help, or if you don't understand something, that's what coaching is there for, as an accountability, as a help. Ask me anything. That is what's so great about coaching, is I am there to see you succeed. I don't want to see you fail. And so helping you every step of the way is what I'm there for you. And so another important thing that can definitely help you break old habits is reconsider why you're making these goals, why you want to make these changes. We're a very visual society, especially with social media. We compare ourselves a lot to others, and why couldn't I bounce back from my, pregnancy like that woman did? I used to work at a pediatric clinic back in the day, and that was about a year ago. And oh my God, I had this mom, and I met all her 3 kids. She was beautiful, but every time she came through the clinic, no matter if she came after the baby, she was full blown makeup. She was never pregnant. oh, like, how does she do it? So again, we are very visual. So when we think of healthy, we think skinny, we think of, a better physique, we think of like long, shiny hair. There's so many things. Again, we're so visual. And a lot of these things that we see online and that we compare ourselves to are not real. So really focus on your own improvements and really focus on what your goals are. Are you trying to sleep better? Are you trying to deal with stress? There's other ways of improving your health, not just by the way we look. That's just the plus. That's just the icing on the cake. But imagine being able to play with your kids, not needing to take a nap, not, having all this energy, having extra time to do things, having extra money. There's different ways of, measuring your health, not just comparing yourself to others. So again, going back to why do we want to make these changes? Why do we want to live a healthier life? Thank you so much for listening to the show today. I am so glad that you were able to join me. And if you got a lot of value out of the episode today, please share it to anybody that you know that might want to learn something new or is struggling with their own health issues. And again, I am so glad that you guys got to join me today. And if you are looking to get coached on nutrition to finally lose the weight that you've been trying to lose for a very long time, I am here to help you. All you have to do is schedule a call with me at jackiepools.com. We get on a simple Zoom call, talk about your goals, and how I can help you get there. It is that simple. It's a free call. It's only 30 minutes. So let's get you started.